If you want to be a strong leader, you must be a great follower first of the cross. And I'm a firm believer in that. Yo, welcome to the video. Super pumped to have you here. Hey, look, what I'm going to be doing on this particular video today is actually share with you something very special, because we are off to a rockin' start, what I'm calling the Solomon Project. And on the last video, I really shared about my personal struggles and how I went from basically dealing with anxiety and depression and even a suicide attempt, and how I was able to overcome those challenges and now come from a more servant heart. And really how that's had a more significant impact on not only my professional life, but my personal life as well, where now I live in a lot more enjoyment, peace, and even fulfillment. I actually took some of that material from that video and started sharing that on some of my other platforms like TikTok and of course Facebook. And then I got some feedback. I got some questions coming in like, can you share with me some of your favorite Bible verses that you have really leaned on to really help you during those difficult times? And where did you start, Sean? And things like that. And so what I wanted to do with today's video is really kind of touch on some of those verses that have really had the most significant impact on my life, in hopes that they will serve you. And hey, if you're new to my channel, again, my name is Sean Murphy, and for the past several months now, I've been sharing biblical principles and success secrets, and it's really impacted more than 100,000 lives on my personal Facebook wall. And so the reason I'm creating this YouTube series today is because I'm on a personal mission to help the Christian entrepreneur navigate their businesses through biblical truth and wisdom. And I want to deliver it in short, bite-sized videos so that you can extract the lesson and start applying it into your life today. So let's dive right into the third installment of what I'm calling the Solomon Project, where I'm just going to hand deliver you my 8 core principles that I try to live by every single day, and the Bible verses that I lean on the most. So let's get right into it today in hopes that this will serve you. So with my gym background, I wanted to come from a place of strength. Like that is something that I've always embodied in my own lifestyle. And whereas before I would just all be about, strength of the body and strength of the mindset, well, now I've learned that those two things really don't matter if we don't have strength of the faith and strength of the spirit as the cornerstone in our lives. So I'm using the acronym STRENGTH as I go through these 8 core principles. And I call this living the code of strength. So let's get right into it, starting with S, and that is seeking God's wisdom and truth daily. In James 1, verse 5, we're urged to seek God's wisdom, who gives generously to all without finding fault. And in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, Solomon wrote, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight." So moving on to T, take up your cross daily. And my friends, following Jesus and taking up your cross is not just a one-time thing. This is a daily pursuit. And we can read about this in Luke chapter 9, starting with verse 23. "And he said to them all, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." And then Matthew hits this message very hard, guys, if we were to turn to chapter 10, verse 38. "And anyone who does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me." So my friends, again, this is where I'm leaning on that code of strength, because it takes a lot of strength and courage and boldness to truly take up your cross and have that servant heart. This is really where my whole message of having that servant heart really falls in line, but it's about taking up your cross and following Jesus first. And again, if you want to be a strong leader, you must be a great follower first of the cross. And I'm a firm believer in that. But let's move on to R, renewing your mind. Romans 12:2 says this, "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Hopefully this video is doing a little bit of that for you right here, right now. And Ephesians 4:23 really emphasizes the importance of renewing your mind in righteousness. Let's just read it directly. Actually, we'll start with verse 22. "You were taught with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self," deny yourself, pick up your cross, "to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." You might say, well, how do we go about doing this? Well, it starts with discipline. So let's tap into embracing discipline in your lives, my friends. And Hebrews 12:11 paints a very clear picture of what that discipline may or may not look like. "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but rather painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained in it. And Proverbs 10:17 will really illustrate how this is the correct way of going down that right path. He who heeds discipline shows the way to life, but whoever ignores correction leads others astray. Now, it's a lot easier to instill this discipline, and it's a lot easier to develop this discipline when you have the help from other people. Which brings us to let's nurture our relationships with each other. Proverbs 27:17 says this, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." This is how we can hold each other to a higher standard in discipline and correctiveness, and even in discipleship to one another. And King Solomon illustrates this even further when we read Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up, but pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up." So let's nurture those relationships, my friend. But I would be encouraged to surround yourself with others who are also growing in their faith, which is our next core principle. So with faith as a cornerstone of our lives, let's allow it to guide us on our journey with steadfast belief, even amidst all uncertainty. And let's be reminded by 2 Corinthians 5:7, which says, "We live by faith, not by sight." And my friends, if you struggle with this, let me remind you of what Paul wrote in Romans 10:17. "Consequently, faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word of Christ." Remember, Jesus said, "Let those who have ears, let them hear." A lot of times, guys, we don't hear the message of Jesus Christ. We don't hear the word of God because we are not embracing our faith first. And so with this said, I would like to open up the invitation for our next principle, and that is to train yourself for godliness. As a business leader yourself, I would encourage you to lean on the wisdom and wise word from Timothy and Peter, who encourage us to train for godliness so that we can reflect God in everything that we do. Have nothing to do with godless myths and old wives' tales. Rather, train yourself to be godly. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for the present life and the life to come. For this very reason, make every effort to add to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness love. For if you possess these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive in your knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. Which brings me to my final principle, which is honoring your commitments. Matthew 5, verse 37 simply says this: "Simply let your yes be your yes and your no be no. Anything beyond that comes from the evil one." All the promises and I swears and I'll do this and I'll just let your yes be yes, guys, and your no be no. If you're saying that you're going to do something, do it. You're not only upholding your promise to your fellow man and to your teammates or to your spouse or to your children or to your church or to your community, but you're also holding your word to God. As it says in Numbers chapter 30, verse 2. "When a man makes a vow to the Lord or takes an oath to obligate himself by a pledge, he must not break his word, but must do everything he said." Guys, you heard me talk about on my last video, when we're serving others, we're serving God. We're serving his purpose. We're serving his will. When you say that you're going to do something for your fellow man, you're making that vow before God as well. So do not break a pledge that you have said that you're going to do. Again, let your yes be yes. It's okay to say no right up front with somebody. Say, "No, I can't do that. I'm not prepared for that." But don't tell somebody that you're going to commit to something and then I changed my mind. That's dangerous territory, guys. So this is why I say that these 8 principles, guys, this is why I say this is living the code of strength, because it's going to take a lot of strength to carry these out. And I still fall short on some of these things, guys, but these are my daily reminders to live by this code. And of course, to lean on the one true source of my strength, the one true source of my courage, who gives me the ability in order to live by this code that I call strength. I hope this video served you in some capacity today. If you got a favorite one out of here, please drop that right here in the comments, guys. And if there's anything else that I can do to create a video that will help serve you and impact your business or your life in any way, I would invite you to open up the dialogue right here in the comments as well. And don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff, like this video, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and also read the description below because I got a lot of resources to help you navigate your business as a man or woman of faith. I hope this video served you well. God bless you, my friend. I'll see you in the next one.